So we hit 1,000 subscribers, and that's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna cap. Oh yeah, by the way, no, I'm in a call with the boy Cassini. I'm in with the boy Cassini right now.
What's up?
As I promised, we are going to be going into my part in me and Goosey's song Vibrance, which is now out on his EP, Vibrance EP. I was the one who did the second half of the song. He's the one who did like the first half-ish. We both worked on the garage part together. I did one half, he did one half. So I'm gonna go over this. Guess I'll just start with the garage part right now. So if you haven't heard it, this is what the garage part sounds like. Yeah, so like it's just the standard garage part. So all the drums and stuff were done by Goosey. So the drums and the Reese was done by him, but like let's go into my parts of this. So without all of the drums and shit that he did, it sounds like this. Okay, so we have in the first part, we hear this bell that's like been playing through the whole part. That is actually, it's an isotope iris patch, which has some really, really interesting like effects on top. So the first thing that's going to, let's see, if you deactivate all these effects, it sounds like this. Not very powerful, kind of weak, just kind of there. What I did was, of course, first add a OTT, which is some multi-band compression, so you know what OTT is. All pass phase, which is just a disperser. It's giving that like pew pew noise. We're gonna have a camel crusher, bring out volume again with the British clean preset. If you have watched my Invincible breakdown, you've seen that I use this one preset like crazy. It's a good preset, I really like it. It just brings out volume. Yeah, and then we have a fresh air to bring out some high end because it was pretty weak on the high end, so. And then yeah, that's a lot more high endy now. Then we have a Freak, which is basically like a weird frequency shifter, oscillator. I don't even know. It's like a frequency shifter, amp modulation and ring modulation plugin, which like with like 3 different modes, has oscillator, sidechain, and radio. Each individually do its own thing. I genuinely don't really know how this plugin works. I just kind of like use presets and turn knobs. So I used Redux, which is basically like a bit crushy kind of effect. So with that now, it sounds like this. Then it has an EQ, which just cuts out lows and just like crazy on the highs. I did this because I kind of wanted this sound in particular to boost out of like the main part of the tracks, or like the main part of the future garage part. And then there's a delay, which is just a delay. It's on the stereo delay instead of using ping pong. I didn't really want it to go back and forth because I found that would be really distracting, and it also didn't sound that great. So like, and then after that it goes into a ROM, which if you all know, this is my favorite reverb plugin of all time. And then finally, on top, there is a Fin Micro, aka just broke ass fucking Crystallizer. It's, if you don't have Crystallizer, I really suggest you get it. Which basically, when you play it, it's also being automated, but basically, it comes like in and out. Okay, so basically this is kind of interesting as well. It's just, it's these samples I made in my previous sound design sessions. So like here we have this like that thing, and then also we have this. Yeah, so those are also there, but then they're first off being pitched into the right key, but then also they're being kind of like weirdly modulated. I don't really know how to explain this, it's other than the fact that it's like high pass filtering really, really harshly. So if you look at the EQ, it's like really, really harsh. And then it has a bunch of reverb and shit, and I also stretched them out a bit, so it's like kind of sounds cool. It's just like a really, really nice effect on the background. Then there's also this like offbeat bell thing, which is And then there's also this, I call it like the low pass bass, or the whoop whoop whoop, if you want to call it that. It just sounds like this. Yeah, it's just another thing I made in another session. Creates like a transition phase, which sounds pretty cool. And then in the second half, we have these who come in. So we have this thing I made in another session as well. A lot of this stuff I've made in like different sessions because personally I just like working like that. The original sound, it just sounds like this. Yeah, so that was just there. And then I was like, you know what? I don't know what else to do with it. So I made it this like kind of like not really gated, but like more like on it hits on quarter notes. It gives like a seesaw effect in the actual track. And all I did for that was just high pass it and then reverb the living shit out of it. There's also this offbeat like speed ARP thingy. And then to end this whole phase, there's this downlifter, uplifter. So there's like, yeah, that's it for like the garage part in general. Let's move on to the drop. This drop was personally really fun to make, and if you hear it, it has a lot of like inspiration from Voltra. I was listening to a lot of Voltra at the time I heard this, and personally I'm not very familiar with tear out, right? So I tried going for something that's more melodic-y tear out-y, if that makes any sense. So let me play the part first before I show you guys what it sounds like. Yeah, so I hopefully that gives like an idea of what it sounded like. Basically, how I was structuring this was really simple. I wanted to have like this kind of like feel where it's a call. So it has the call, which is just the first initial gun that he made for his tracks. So it's this dish noise. Yeah, and then it goes into this part where it's like really simple. It's just kind of like, again, going with that seesaw effect, but the first note being shorter than the second one. And this one just like, it creates that like, so that's there. Yeah, so again with this whole idea was like trying to figure out how to get it to sound a lot like, not like, it wasn't really trying to get it to sound like a lot like Voltra, but I kind of wanted it to sound more like Voltra. The main bass is just literally just this like, I think it's a vital patch if I'm not wrong. It's a vital patch with a comb. And if you can hear this sounds really hollow on its own. So there was definitely some layering for this, which I'll show next. But basically, the main bass is just really, really weird, inharmonic, random amp stuff that I was like, you know what, this sounds kind of cool, so I'm gonna do it. To get that bump, 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 bump kind of effect, that's mainly done not by the bass, but actually by the comb filter, which is also on it. So yeah, so we have this comb filter right here, which is just making this like, with the first one being short and the second one being like a lot more larger. And then like for the effects on this is like a vocodex, which is, I don't even know what the hell this is doing. Like a texture effect on the top end. OTT, Camel Crusher, and regular shit. And then there's a wave shaper distorting the living shit out of it. All pass phase is getting that pew pew noise, so without it, just like the tew tew. I don't know if you can hear it that well because my CPU is currently killing itself, but that's fine. And then we have a Soundgoodizer, which is just on Maximus because I didn't feel like using the regular Soundgoodizer. I think I made another change to this, but I don't know where. It was somewhere here, somewhere. I don't remember. I'll figure it out later. And then it goes into an EQ, which is just cutting out lows. I didn't really do much with the sound. I don't know why. I personally, usually I would like hella EQ, but I guess I just didn't feel like doing it when I was making this. And honestly, I don't really think there would have been anything I would have changed. It sounds fine. Maybe like low end it a little bit more because there's a little bit of mud right here. But like, you know, it's fine. It sounds fine. I'll take it. And then there's a chorus, which is just bringing out stereo width. And then finally, on top of all of this, there's like a stereo delay, which you see in my Invincible breakdown. You know, I've used the same kind of thing before, where it's just like a really short, just like a slapback kind of thing. And then the vocodex. So to make this sound actually sound like it's color based, I have this RIP for my CPU, bruh. It's still barely working, but anyways, for this, it's a really, really simple Vocodex patch. I didn't feel like doing much with it, so it's just the Vocodex itself is like pretty simple. I have widened it a little bit, unison to the sound a bit, with the regular carrier, and I was doing this kind of thing with the noise level modulator, which basically is like it's a spectral gate pretty much for the sound. And I just like cut it off a little bit so that the sound didn't hold out for too long, so it's just pretty quick. And then there's a high pass filter, and then again I use the same kind of comb filtering kind of technique to get this to have the same dun 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 feel. It's like a seesaw. And then there's an OTT, obviously camel crusher, blah blah blah, wave shaper, making it sound beefier. All pass phase, again doing that pew pew kind of thingy. A convolver, which I completely forgot I even put this in here. But I guess it's just making, it has this weird, like, I don't even know, it's just like someone screaming but whispering. I don't even know what the f this is, to be honest. But it's like really, really, really stereo, so it just creates like a stereo effect. And then there's an EQ, just doing EQ kind of things. And then another Soundgoodizer at the end. Why is everything so freaking massive? Okay, wait, there we go. But then on top of all of this, there's this weird like sine thingy, which just goes thing. Which is just a regular sine wave with like a filtering kind of thing. So it's like, but also there's a Vocodex creating this like weird like peaking over here, but because it's what do you call that? It's vocoding to itself, so it's like it becomes like hella resonant in this one area. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I used an OTT to tame that, and then it goes into all pass phase, pew pew kind of thing. Yeah, it's just pretty simple patch, honestly. And that basically just gives more actuation to the whole like melodies. And then we also have, which is the vocal chops, extremely distorted chopped vocals from SliceX. Has the OTT, camel crusher, blah blah blah, saturation kind of thing. Yeah, Soundgoodizer is also there, just doing the Soundgoodizer kind of things. There's this weird EQ. I don't even know what the hell I was doing with making this EQ, but I guess it worked. And then delay again, and then there's reverb at the end with the ROM, because ROM is goated, is a good plugin. And then we have for the base layers, there's actually like 5 or 6. There's 4 base layers. No, 3 base layers. I cannot count. All right, 3 base layers. We have this thingy. All the like weird processing sounds like this. I don't even know why it does it. It just gives texture to the sound. We have a Vocodex, OTT, Soundgoodizer, EQ just lowering this part, another camel crusher, and then EQ again just absolutely crushing the 3000 hertz range because it didn't sound good at all. And then there's a magic switch, which is just the chorus. Sounds really, really bad on its own, but it makes up for itself when I put all the other sounds together. We also have this other kind of like metallic-y bass, which sounds like this. And I think with all the sounds is just, yeah. Damn, I don't even know what it is. It's just a bunch of weird, like, messy kind of shit. And it sounds kind of like squelchy in a sense. And then we put like double OTT, camel crusher, wave shaper. And then again, I use the comb filter again, just to make it come out more and have that 1-2 feeling, as I said before. Then an all pass phase, which is just all pass phasing. So just basically dispersing. EQ. Lowering around the 5000 hertz range because it was kind of harsh in that area, taming the sound. Another Soundgoodizer, and then a magic switch, just doing its chorus kind of things again there. And then we also have this thingy. There's nothing really on this other than like some OTT and some what do you call that, chorus. It's just another thing I made in a different session, which is just really weird, like Vocodex kind of sound. Sounds kind of cool. And then there's one more part on the actual main bass, which is just giving more actuation to the same melody again, because I wanted that melody to stick out a lot. There's also a filter at the beginning, which is just making it like really, really secluded in the beginning, and then just like really wide with some risers and shit. Another thing I've been doing a lot, like I've done a lot, and it's also in Invincible, is this whole like hyper thing that I've used. It's like literally the same sound, it's just this, and then there's also this like a second part, there's this like rising kind of sound, then some risers and shit, just doing its own riser thingies, just rising and not rising. And then we have, in the second part, we have this little like, the two sounds that were part of his stems. So we have this like, I think how he did it was he put like these two little sound effect plugins along with his gun being like mega stretched. So it sounds like this. And on top, and like to finish that sound, because I felt like it needed something at the end, I put this little like stab thingy along with this like crunchy sound. So it's like that and this. So together it sounds like this. Kind of cool, I guess. And then I see he has some background sounds as well he made for his part. So we have like some trance kind of like, I think it's like some vocal riser in the background. He has this like ARP kind of thing. Another ARP kind of thing together, just this. If you want, you can pester him how he made that. Don't pester him, but like ask him nicely how he made those, and he can probably help you with that. He has this server, his Discord server, which I'll link in the description, called Nest Network. He's like online pretty frequently, so you can ask him a couple of questions if you have any. About the whole like first starting part is just this gun. That's there. And then there's also this at the end. Drums, not that big actually, just pretty simple kick snare kind of shit. With some like some more stuff on top of it. So you have like this like cymbals and shit, and then you have a snare. This is all from his like stem, so I can't really give much of an explanation of how he mixed them. Yep, regular old goosey things. On top of all of like the basses, we have like these like this weird percussion layer. Yeah, there's just some weird other noises, and there's also this more like clicky kind of noises, which you can hear the rhythm of the basses in there. Sub, not that big actually, just like my regular good old like sub with. It's just a sub with like a lot of like white noise and distortion. It's pretty simple, and then there's a regular. Yeah, regular sub. The second like fill part, we have this. Anyways, it consists of two layers. It has this little vital layer, which is doing like this like metallic kind of feel. And we also have this. But to get that like weird like watery effect, it's actually going into two things: a vibrato and a frequency shifter with like half mix, creates that phasey effect. So make that the bum but the bum bum bum. It actually has two things. So we have this first thing that just goes, which he put in his part as the pre-drop. It was like kind of there in the pre-drop. And then we have this growl fill. It's this weird like, I guess like really distorted unison bass, a lot of more like stuff on top. So like has like some comb filtering again with the freak. It's doing its more freaky kind of things. Pretty simple on this whole part. And then on top of that, there's also this like ambient riser, which I also used for submergence. And then we also have this watery kind of like water kind of stuff. And then we also have this like riser. We also have this other like sound that's being used as like a riser kind of thing. The vocals from the acapella. So. And then for the Voltra-esque like part that sounds like the second half of Star Force, to create that like saw combi lead thingy, I just have this one. So this is basically being done by two saw waves, one with unison, and then like a really on like a really low volume, just a square wave that's like an octave lower, with some hyper dimension and some compression, along with like this like filtering thingy on top. To actually get it sound like more like the sound, there's a Vocodex, a comb filter, OTT, wave shaper, so like the more distortion kind of things. Then all pass phase, which is just dispersing the whole sound. EQ, limiter to make sure like I think I just like boosted it out so it like pretty much just clipped on the top. Some delay and then reverb. That's pretty much it for that lead. The basses have a little bit of change here where it has like a pitch change. So basically it goes. And then it has, for that little like part at the end, it has this. So we have this like bell sound, just a music box, it just goes. And then there's also this like wind chime on top. And some like risers and shit just to lower the sound into like the second half. Just get it into the area. And then we also have like this impact, which is like actually on this bell as well, it kind of changes in the second part where it becomes like, it changes from like a belly kind of like. Yeah, it changes to like an ambient kind of like background noise. As you know, I like making a lot of these like emotional piano endings. I really like this one specifically because it has this really cool like out of chord at the end. So it's like. With a frequency shifter ending because I thought it sounded cool and I just did it. So on top of all of this, there's like some more like sound. We have this like call and response kind of thing over here where it's like it has the chord and it has like this. Just these really ambient plucky kind of sounds. And then we have this, I don't know why, but I added a guitar. I don't know why I added this. It's just more ambient noises. Then we have more ambient noises, which is the pad. Yeah, just a lot of ambient noises pretty much. You have these like background Foley kind of like, again, Atmos effecty kind of things. So like basically you're sitting in like a rain kind of area with cars. I don't know, highway. I don't even know what the Atmos I was trying to go for this, but it's there. And I hope you liked watching this. If you did, consider subscribing. If you didn't, then don't consider subscribing, I guess. If you haven't check out the song on Spotify /SoundCloud / wherever you want to listen it to. And also, if you haven't, like, watch my other tutorials if you want to learn some more. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this. Sick. I will see you guys later. Peace out.